hopefully we can get this hay raked and dried so that we can get it up before it rains. It's raining. Hopefully we have something going on that I can record and get a video out soon. Welcome back to Todd Family Farm. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys an update on what happened with the flood. I know a lot of you have been wondering on how much damage it did to the crops, if we're going to have to replant, everything like that. So just wanted to come on here. We're going to have a quick little video and I'll explain and yeah, give you guys an update on how everything is recovering from the flood and all of that stuff. So if you'll notice, I'm in a vehicle to record this little intro because it is so windy outside today. It makes it so difficult to record, but I'm doing my best. We're in a vehicle and we're gonna get this video recorded so I can get it put out today, because I know I've been kind of behind on getting videos put out. I'm gonna try to get some videos put out a little bit more frequently from here on out. It's been nice to have a little bit where I can take editing a little bit slower and all of that, and we've still been pretty busy outside, but it's finally starting to slow down. We're starting to get to summer here where we don't have quite as much going on every single day, so I will hopefully have more time for editing and get videos out more frequently. So thank you guys for being patient, and I am going to try very hard to kind of keep videos out more consistently and get more videos out more often, which I think you guys will enjoy. Anyways, on to today's video topic. It's not going to be quite as long of a video today. It's going to be pretty quick, but I just wanted to explain with the flood. So, as you guys saw, we're actually coming up on a month ago. We had a flash flood. It was a true flash flood. The only flash flood I think any of us in our family has seen. And it went from being a severe drought to everything completely flooded, water just flowing across the road. Our creek went from being extremely low to looking like a river in a very short amount of time. We actually got around 4 to 5 inches of rain, I believe. That came very quickly. We went to bed the night before, there was no rain. We got up, it was raining like extremely hard at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Water was pouring over the roof. You couldn't even see outside the door because there was just so much water. But then when it finally, the sun came up, everything was flooded, everything was covered in water, there was water going across the road, all of that. So we got about 4 or 5 inches, but what actually really flooded us was upstream, got a lot more than that. So all of that water came down, overflowed the creek, overflowed the river, which we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, the creek was completely out all over our fields. We did put out a video like really quickly after the flood happened. It was just raw footage of the flood and what things were looking like right after that. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a card to it right there. But for now, before we go into the damages of the flood, I have some drone footage from back when it was flooded that I'll show you guys now. as you can see, very flooded, a lot of water. The thing is, we had been in a drought for several years. Like, it was getting bad. We could not have gone through another year with a drought without any rain like we had been doing. The water company had actually sent out a warning letter that we don't have a lot of water, it's limited water use, and all of that. So it was getting pretty bad, the drought situation. So the good thing about that, though, is when we had that much water, everything was so low, the ground was so dry, the creek was so low, we took a lot of water really quickly. The ground was able to absorb it quickly. The creek was able to take a lot of water. So the water that was standing in the fields moved off pretty quickly. It didn't stay on the crops for very long, which then, so it didn't actually damage the crops a lot. There are a few places that there was a bunch of silt just moved and stopped there. A bunch of corn stalks got taken off the field. Our ditches are just like full of corn stalks now because all of that got moved off the field. But there's a few spots where you can tell that the crop, it's a little bit bare, but really all of the crops have recovered, and so there's not going to be any need to replant from that. We did get some hail as well, so the hail did a little bit of damage to our crops. It probably set the corn back about a week, so we're still probably like a week behind what we would have been if we had not gotten that hail, but it's recovered really well. The crop is looking good after having to recover from that hail and then the flood. It really came out of it very well. Like I said, there's just a few little spots that you can tell were flooded, but other than that, everything looks good. When I say everything looks good, I'm talking about the ground around our house. We're gonna talk about the river bottom ground now. So the river bottom is a few miles north of us, and if you know river bottom, if anything floods, that is gonna flood, okay? And we knew that going into this when we started renting that ground, that it was at risk for flood. When you're in a drought, that is gonna be some of the best ground you can have. When you're in a flood, it's gonna be the absolute worst ground you could have. So that, we went up there the day that it flooded, and it had a little bit of standing water in it. It really wasn't that bad. But see, what really got us is when all of that water came from upstream down the river. It wasn't the 4 inches that we got here, it was all the water that was upstream, came down, overflowed the river, and so there was 2 feet of water out on that field for a long time. It took forever to go back down, and then drying out, it's a long process. So there's still like a place up there today, almost a month later, that has standing water in it. So that ground takes a long time to dry out. The crops, the beans, if you guys remember, we planted those beans up there on April 25th. We got them going and they were looking good, you know, 3-4 inches tall. And then it flooded and it's a total loss. The beans are gone. There is nothing left up there. And yeah, the river bottom field is a total loss. We're not going to be able to replant it, but you know, it's the way things go sometimes, and you just got to make the best of it and keep going, keep moving forward. So that is the update on how the crops are doing after the flood. I hope that answers any questions you might have had. And if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll do my best to answer those. That is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.